It may surprise or even shock you to hear what I'm about to say, but if you're seeing this video right now, it's no accident. You, a true chosen one, have already begun to sense that something extraordinary is happening beneath the surface of your everyday life. It's as if the air itself has shifted, making room for possibilities that once seemed too distant or unreal. You might feel a renewed excitement for no apparent reason or catch yourself smiling at random moments, as though your spirit knows exactly what's coming, even if your mind can't put it into words. Yet the truth is, you're stepping into a new reality, and it's high time you gave yourself permission to celebrate that remarkable transition. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment 77 feet below to declare that you're ready to embrace this transformation with open arms. Chapter 1. The Thrill of a Seemingly Ordinary Day. Sometimes the biggest shifts start on the most ordinary days. You could be sipping your morning coffee or tying your shoes when a quiet but profound realization sneaks up on you. In that unguarded moment, you feel an unexplainable eagerness to venture beyond the boundaries that once kept you small. Life hasn't changed visibly yet, but you notice a subtle undercurrent of potential that you can't ignore. It's as if a curtain has lifted, revealing a landscape that was there all along, but now you finally have the eyes to see it. This internal spark doesn't always arrive with fireworks or thunderclaps. Instead, it might show up as a gentle but persistent thought, nudging you to question old routines or beliefs. Maybe you sense your own strength in a way you never did before, or perhaps a challenge that once terrified you now seems like a stepping stone toward growth rather than a roadblock. Even your physical surroundings take on a new texture. The colors of the sunrise feel brighter. The hum of the city resonates differently, and you catch yourself inhaling each breath with heightened awareness. At first, you might wonder if you're imagining things. Old patterns of doubt creep in, urging you to dismiss these sensations as fleeting or unrealistic. Yet this sense of hidden wonder refuses to vanish. It's like a constant knocking on the door of your subconscious, reminding you that your life is more expansive than you've allowed yourself to believe. You try to articulate the feeling to friends or family, but it can be tricky to put something so intangible into words. Still, you notice little moments of magic weaving themselves into your day. You might cross paths with someone who shares a crucial insight just when you need it most, or you stumble on an article that seems tailor-made for your current struggle. These coincidences are hard to ignore. They remind you that you're moving in step with a deeper current of life, and you start to wonder if all the struggles, all the stops and starts you've experienced were leading you to this precise point, a threshold where your perception begins to expand. By evening, the feeling hasn't faded. In fact, it grows stronger the more you acknowledge it. That's when you understand you're not just having a fleeting good day. You're at the brink of a whole new way of experiencing the world around you. The door has cracked open to a reality that resonates with the potential you've felt inside for so long. And once that door's open, there's no turning back to the days when everything seemed carved in stone. A new dimension of living awaits, quietly inviting you to step across its welcome mat and see what lies beyond the horizon. Chapter 2. Releasing the Weight of Old Expectations. One reason the transition into a new reality feels so liberating is that it compels you to release the burdens you've been carrying, many of which aren't even yours to bear. These might be expectations inherited from family, society's narrow definitions of success, or even your own self-imposed limitations that you once believed kept you safe. Over time, such burdens can weigh you down, making you feel like you're walking with lead in your shoes. Yet the moment you decide to step into the unknown, you also begin shedding layers of accumulated pressure. This release can manifest in simple ways at first. You catch yourself questioning whether you really need to keep up an appearance just to satisfy someone else's notion of who you should be, or you realize you've been accepting secondhand dreams, never stopping to ask if they align with your true desires. When you see how much space these outdated blueprints occupy in your mind, you begin to let them go, piece by piece. It might be a quiet decision not to attend a gathering that drains your energy or make a bold choice to speak your truth when you normally stay silent. Each act of release is like a small exhale, making space for fresher air. As you continue freeing yourself from these old constraints, A new sense of self emerges. You might feel lighter, more open to trying things that once intimidated you. You also become more conscious of the daily choices that shaped your life. You notice you have more energy and a heightened sense of clarity. This isn't an accident. It's the natural result of clearing out the mental clutter that clouded your ability to see your potential. Like removing excess baggage from a flight, you're ensuring your next journey has the altitude it needs to soar. However, not everyone in your orbit may understand the changes you're making. Some might question your new boundaries or comment that you're acting differently. That's when the temptation to backtrack can sneak in. But remember, you're not changing for the sake of change. You're unfolding into a version of yourself that's more authentic and alive. It's okay if certain people don't see it that way. Ultimately, your journey is yours to navigate, and the reality you're stepping into calls for courage. Letting go of external validation is another crucial piece of baggage you likely want to toss aside before you move any further. In the midst of all this, you may find that moments of real joy start to pop up unexpectedly. You catch yourself humming a tune, smiling for no apparent reason, or feeling waves of gratitude for the slightest blessings in your daily routine. This is your newfound freedom asserting itself, reminding you that life doesn't have to be dictated by relentless obligations. You are allowed to feel lighter, to step off the treadmill of old expectations, and to celebrate the simple truth that you are evolving, ready or not, understood or not, into a space where your soul can finally breathe. Chapter 3. The Unseen Hand of Destiny. As you navigate these internal shifts, you may begin to sense an unseen hand gently guiding you. It's not a literal hand, of course, but a feeling that life's events and encounters are syncing up in ways you can't quite rationalize. Perhaps you run into an old friend who mentions a job opening that matches your new aspirations perfectly, or you decide on a whim to take a different route home and stumble upon a hidden cafe that sparks an idea you've been searching for. These moments of serendipity are more than random flukes. They're echoes of a deeper pattern that begins to reveal itself once you become open to change. At first, it's natural to second-guess these serendipities, chalking them up to coincidence or imagination. But as they accumulate, you notice a consistent theme. They seem to arrive just when you need them most. There's a whisper of perfection in the timing, an undeniable sense that you're being nudged forward by something larger than the day-to-day stories you once lived by. This phenomenon can be both thrilling and a little unnerving, especially if you spent a lifetime believing that life is random and lacks any guiding intelligence. This is where faith starts to play a pivotal role. Not necessarily faith in a specific ideology, but faith in the idea that you are an essential part of a connected, responsive universe. As a chosen one, your growth becomes a conversation with existence itself, one in which you both speak and listen. You speak by setting intentions, by deciding to move forward on a path that resonates with your heart. You listen by staying vigilant for signs, messages, and synchronicities that might nudge you in a beneficial direction. You might also notice that challenges still arise, and sometimes they arrive in waves, yet these obstacles feel different now. Instead of reading them as proof you're on the wrong path, you sense their opportunities to refine your approach and strengthen your resolve. The unseen hand doesn't remove every hurdle from your journey. It positions them precisely where you need to grow. In these moments, you may feel tested, but you also feel supported. It's as though the universe is saying, keep going. You're onto something. Over time, you'll likely find it easier to trust your instincts. You'll recognize that the new reality you're entering isn't built on blind optimism, but on a tapestry of countless small validations that your path is meaningful. Each breakthrough, small or large, reinforces your ability to sense and cooperate with these invisible currents of destiny. The result is a growing confidence in your own capacity to move through life with both grace and drive. And as you deepen this trust, you become less fearful of the unknown and more eager to meet it with a grateful and adventurous heart. Chapter 4. Celebrations in the midst of the climb. A pivotal aspect of stepping into a new reality is learning to celebrate yourself and your progress, even when you're still far from your final goals. Too often, we reserve celebrations for the finish line, overlooking the daily victories that fuel our motivation. This old habit of postponing joy means we miss out on the power of acknowledging how far we've come. But as a chosen one on the brink of new horizons, choosing to celebrate in the midst of the climb can be a transformative practice. You might start by pausing each day to reflect on at least one moment you felt aligned with your higher self. Maybe you had a breakthrough idea or chose kindness in a situation that usually triggers you. These micro celebrations don't have to be extravagant. A silent moment of gratitude over a cup of tea or a quick journal entry can be enough to anchor you in the energy of progress. Over time, these moments accumulate, creating a ripple effect that lifts your spirits and keeps you motivated. In celebrating the process, you also lift your gaze from the grind of what still needs to be done. It's easy to get stuck in a loop of not there yet, which fosters impatience and sometimes doubt. When you acknowledge the steps you've already taken, you remind yourself that transformation is a journey, not a single leap. This outlet shifts your perspective from scarcity, focusing on what's missing, to abundance, recognizing what you've already gained and how much capacity you have for more. Of course, not everyone will understand this approach. Society often conditions us to downplay our achievements or remain humble to the point of invisibility. But there's a difference between bragging and celebrating. When you celebrate authentically, you're not seeking applause from the outside. You're giving yourself permission to be proud of your own evolution. And that sense of pride carried internally can radiate outward, inspiring those who cross your path to consider their own progress. Some days, the step you celebrate might be as simple as getting out of bed with a hopeful mindset after a sleepless night of worry. Other days, you might be toasting a job promotion, a new creative project, or a meaningful personal discovery. In each scenario, the essence is the same. You are affirming that you are alive, you are learning, and you are moving forward. That affirmation isn't trivial. It's a powerful statement of your continued commitment to growth, which in turn shapes the reality you're entering. Allow yourself the gift of these small festivities. Embrace them as you would a dear friend returning from a long trip. Your spirit will respond by expanding further, by finding new ways to reward you for your openness. This cycle of positive feedback boosts your resilience, ensuring that even when life presents difficulties, you remember there's always something worth celebrating, namely, the remarkable journey you're on. Chapter 5. Aligning with your true values. As you settle more deeply into this emerging reality, you become increasingly aware of what truly matters to you. Your values, once mere ideas, start taking center stage in your everyday life. It's as though you stepped into a more transparent world where half-hearted commitments and empty pursuits reveal themselves for what they are, distractions that no longer hold any appeal. You find yourself drawn to meaningful work, genuine friendships, and authentic expressions of who you are becoming. This alignment process can initially create inner conflict. Perhaps you realize that certain career choices or social circles no longer resonate with the person you're evolving into. Letting go of these familiar attachments might bring about uncertainty or regret. You could ask yourself, have I wasted my time? Or, what would people think? But deep down, you sense that these transformations are inevitable if you are to live in integrity with your new reality. The discomfort is often a sign that you're on the brink of significant growth. When you honor your values, your actions naturally start to reflect them. Instead of feeling obligated to please others or to meet arbitrary standards, you make decisions rooted in a desire to serve your higher purpose. This could mean changing your schedule so you can dedicate more time to a cause that moves you, or it might involve setting boundaries with relationships that pull you away from the person you want to be. While these shifts can be challenging, the payoff is immense. Each choice that aligns with your core values feels like a victory, fortifying your resolve and pushing you further into the life you truly want. With alignment comes a new sense of clarity. You no longer spend hours agonizing over decisions because your direction is guided by an internal compass rather than external pressures. This doesn't mean every question or challenge magically solves itself. You still face hurdles, but each obstacle becomes easier to navigate when you have a strong sense of why you're doing what you do. Your focus sharpens, and you notice a certain flow taking over, as if each task has a rightful place in the bigger picture. Moreover, aligning with your values doesn't isolate you from others. It helps you foster deeper, more fulfilling connections. You begin attracting people who share your perspectives, or who at least respect your commitment to living authentically. Conversations become richer, partnerships more collaborative, and friendships more supportive. Even conflicts become opportunities to clarify what truly matters to you and whether a situation or relationship can evolve in a beneficial way. Ultimately, this phase of aligning with your values acts like a powerful filter, sifting out what no longer serves your growth while amplifying everything that does. The result is a sharpened sense of purpose and a lighter emotional load. Instead of trudging through life, carrying regrets, or trying to meet unrealistic expectations, you move forward with intention. You realize that the path you're walking is crafted by your own choices, rooted in what you genuinely hold dear. And that realization alone is enough to fuel the next step in your remarkable transformation. Chapter 6. Befriending the Unknown. Though the path of transformation can be exhilarating, it also demands that you become comfortable with uncertainty. The new reality you're stepping into doesn't come with an instruction manual. You won't always know what's around the next bend or how your life will look a year from now. But part of embracing this journey is learning to be okay with questions that don't have immediate answers. In fact, those unanswered questions can become a source of curiosity and inspiration rather than dread. It's helpful to think of the unknown not as an enemy, but as an ally. The fact that you can't see every detail of your future leaves room for surprises that may exceed your current expectations. Maybe there's an adventure just over the horizon that your limited perspective can't yet anticipate. Or perhaps there's a skill you'll develop seemingly by accident, which will alter your trajectory in a thrilling way. Being open to these possibilities is how you stay in harmony with the flow of life's unfolding story. This willingness to dance with uncertainty also strengthens your resilience. Instead of fearing change, you begin to accept that it's a natural part of growth. When something unexpected happens, be it a lost opportunity or a sudden windfall, you greet it with an adaptive mindset. You ask, what can I learn from this? How can I evolve because of this? That shift in perspective can turn potential setbacks into valuable lessons and unplanned gains into stepping stones toward your next breakthrough. Yet befriending the unknown doesn't mean you float aimlessly without direction. You still have goals, principles, and values lighting your way. The difference is that you remain flexible about how, when, and through which avenues those goals might manifest. Sometimes you'll aim for a particular outcome, only to discover an even better opportunity along the detour. This is the unexpected blessing of not forcing life to adhere to a rigid plan. Friends or colleagues who thrive on certainty might see your approach as reckless or naive. They might urge you to stick to well-trodden paths, to keep your aspirations modest and your plans airtight. However, you've probably realized by now that those conventional safeguards can become shackles, limiting your potential. As a chosen one, you're cultivating an inner security that doesn't rely on external predictability. This kind of security isn't tied to a job title, a relationship status, or a fixed 5-year plan. It's rooted in your unwavering belief that you can navigate whatever arises on your path. In this way, the unknown morphs from a menacing void into a spacious realm brimming with untapped potential. Each day is a fresh canvas, and each moment holds a chance to discover new facets of your capability. While others cling to the familiar out of fear, you step forward with a spirit that knows growth often happens where certainty ends. And as you journey deeper, you'll discover that your willingness to embrace what you can't fully foresee is what continually propels you to new heights of self-discovery. Fulfillment. Chapter 7. Entering the reality you've been waiting for. By now, you can feel it in your bones. Something monumental is shifting in your life. The anticipation you've been holding has evolved into tangible evidence that you're no longer the person you once were. Your outlook is brighter, your strides more purposeful, and the whispers of possibility sensed at the start have grown into a steady chorus urging you forward. You're entering the reality you've been waiting for, and there's no better time to celebrate than right now. This reality isn't merely a place, it's a state of being. You've released old burdens, aligned with your truest values, and welcomed the unknown as a companion rather than an adversary. The outcomes of these changes might be visible in your outer world, such as finding more fulfilling work or forming deeper relationships, or they might be purely internal, such as waking up each day with a renewed sense of excitement. Either way, the evidence of your transformation is all around you, in both subtle and glaringly obvious ways. What's truly remarkable is how quickly things can shift once you open the door to this new reality. Decisions that once seemed agonizing now feel straightforward because you have a clearer sense of what resonates with your soul. You notice people entering your life who share your enthusiasm, who speak the same language of growth and exploration. Even the daily stresses you encounter feel more manageable. You've learned to greet them with a calm confidence rather than panic or denial. And yes, there will still be trials. This newfound life isn't an escape from challenges, but rather a conscious decision to rise above them. You've discovered you have an inner toolkit that grows stronger with each test. Whether it's patience, adaptability, or sheer determination, these virtues have blossomed under the light of your evolving self-awareness. Each new hurdle becomes an invitation to refine who you are, reinforcing the reality that you're fully equipped to move beyond every obstacle. This is the moment to pause and take stock of how far you've come. Think of the doubts you started with, the fears, the hesitations, and acknowledge the distance you've traveled. Recognize the courage it took to let go, to question deeply held assumptions, and to entertain the idea that you might be destined for more than the scripted life you once accepted as unchangeable. That's worth celebrating all on its own. Still, as you look ahead, it's clear that this is only the beginning. The path before you stretches into possibilities you can't even name. More revelations will emerge, more layers of yourself will be uncovered, and more surprises will confirm that life can exceed even your loftiest expectations. And through it all, you remain rooted in the understanding that this is your journey, guided by an inner calling that refuses to settle for anything less than a life lived in its fullest glory.